Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude Running and it's shoe review time, and today we're going to be talking all things Asics GT-2000 version 10. So you may have realised that I have decided to change up the landscape or the scenery just a little bit. So I've come down into one of our two fitting rooms here at Sportitude Running, and I think the change is probably on point because Asics GT-2000 version 10 has had quite the update. So we're talking a new outsole. There's a lot going on with the new midsole technology, and Asics have put a lot of time and effort into what they have executed with their upper. So like all my shoe reviews, we'll talk about version 10, where it's come from version 9. We'll profile the foot type and also the runner that could be considering this shoe, give you all the information that you need at home to, who knows, potentially make this your new running shoe. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay guys, before we get stuck into the GT-2000 version 10, let's talk about the runner that could be considering this shoe through here. So I'll touch on quickly the shoe itself. It is still a very cushioned shoe underneath the body. However, if you're a runner that's seeking more compression, more cushioning, and you happen to be an overpronator, you would be looking at the Asics Gel KR28. If you're a runner that maybe has a slightly higher cadence, lands a little bit softer but needs arch support and is searching for more of a responsive feel underneath your body, version 10 is probably going to be a shoe you should consider. So when we're talking about that overpronated foot type, what does that mean? Well, it means we'll have a static foot that will look something like this. So the arches will splay out, be relatively close to the ground. And when this runner makes contact with the ground, be it heel first, and as they transition through to mid-starts, we'll have a little bit of tendency to favour that medial side before the foot gets ready to then toe off. If you happen to be a mid-foot runner, which I am, you'll land mid-foot first, but then again you'll see that lateral to medial transition as you get through your mid-starts phase of your gait cycle, and then ready to toe off as well. Okay guys, let's talk about GT-2000 version 10. And like all my shoe reviews, let's start from the ground and work our way up. So, talking about the outsole, you can see right here, right there, there is full ground contact from the heel right through to the forefoot. So it has been quite the change in regards to the outsole in comparison to version 9. So I hold version 9 on my left hand here, version 10 in my right. So traditionally Asics have used a truss system which splits the heel engineering and the forefoot engineering of that outsole. And the truss system was or has been used to essentially aid in that deceleration phase of your gait cycle. So when that runner comes down heel first, going through mid-starts, that truss kicks in and slows down or aids that support system for that overpronator as the foot gets ready through mid-starts to then toe off. Quite the change, obviously, when you're looking at version 10. Now, a couple of things we sort of dialed in here when we're looking at the engineering components. The truss system on version 9 in comparison to the light truss in version 10. The light truss actually covers a fair bit of that medial side of the shoe. So it works in unison with that arch support, which we'll talk about in 2 ticks in the midsole, but it comes through a little bit further up on that medial side, almost just before your first metatarsal here underneath your foot. So that light truss system provides light truss, pardon me, it provides a very consistent feel underneath the body, but also a very smooth and stable transition through mid-starts. Talking about the outsole, we can't leave out the fact that there is different densities of rubber. So Asics have used AHAR plus rubber on the back of the shoe through here. Remembering this shoe is designed for a heel striker, and heel strikers tend to hit the ground a little bit harder, which is perfectly fine. Hence why we have a harder rubber on offer at the back of the shoe through here. Coming through to the forefoot, the other noticeable change is the fact we have 4 flex screws now from that lateral to medial side in regards to the forefoot construction, in comparison to 3 last year. So again, why we're seeing change with the trussic and the light truss and also the amount of flex screws on offer, I do think this shoe has 4 flex screws in the forefoot because it works better with the flight frame propel technology, and it also works a lot better with the new light truss system. So if you had 4 flex screws on offer in the version 9 through the forefoot with this truss system and also the same engineering at the back of the shoe through here, this shoe would not have had a consistent feel under the body. You would have noticed that truss system too much. Okay guys, let's talk about the midsole now with the GT-2000 version 10. So we have the exposed gel cushioning, which is on offer at the back of the shoe through here. So that's that 3D printed technology It is gender specific, and I do like when brands actually manufacture cushioning systems, support systems to cater for different genders. Obviously, they put a bit more time and effort into how they execute their support and their cushioning system. So with that 3D exposed gel, we have on top of that is the Flight Foam Propel technology, and underneath that gel cushioning system is just the Flight Foam cushioning system. So again, the Flight Foam underneath the gel is a softer geometry of foam. It's going to dampen a little bit more, and the Propel system, like its namesake, is going to be more responsive as you transition through to that forefoot. Now, the other thing to call out is the light truss on the medial side. So as we touched on in the intro, there is a slightly new take on the trussing system and a new take on the arch support. So what Asics have done for a number of years now is have dynamic Geomax called out, or Geomax called out on the medial side, and then that trussing system underneath the shoe itself and the outsole. So two different technologies working together to produce the ultimate outcome for that overpronator. Asics have combined those two entities into one now. So the light truss is a system that works with the outsole and the medial and the midsole part of it to provide that arch support that an overpronator is seeking in their running shoe. Now, I'll touch on that for 2 ticks, because for me, when I put a shoe on my foot, you kind of want to know straight away what it's going to feel like. And when you put your foot into the GT-2000 version 10, I must say this thing felt like a stable neutral shoe. It did not feel like I had a shoe with arch support built in, and I do think that's a good thing. Reason being is the shoe itself performed just as well, if not better, than version 9 in my opinion, and we had a couple of other runners also test this shoe out here at Sportitude running. So again, looking at the change in arch support, it can be a little bit daunting and a little bit scary, especially for an Asics consumer. I reckon Asics Light Brooks are probably your most loyal to brand runners, especially here in Australia. So when there is a little bit of change within the shoe, they kind of want to know, okay, why is there change and is it justified? And I stand here telling you right now that that light truss system is just as good, if not better. It provides a more consistent ride the whole way through that midsole, and it provides a very stable, comfortable fit. So I think Asics have absolutely nailed the brief when it comes to the midsole. And while we're talking all things midsole, let's just touch on the ever so slight change with regards to the heel to toe drop. We have 22mm in the heel and 14mm in the forefoot for a variance of 8mm. That's the same for men's and women's with this shoe, in comparison to last year when it was a 10mm heel to toe drop. So a subtle change with that heel to toe offset is more to do with the execution of the outsole and the midsole with that new light truss technology. It works really smooth the whole way through your transition. Okay guys, let's talk about the upper now. Again, one of my favourite features of this shoe is the upper. It's hard to talk about outsoles and how they work. I do like what they've done with the midsole, but I think they have absolutely nailed the upper. A completely new knitted technology up top. So traditionally Asics have used either an engineered mesh or jacquard mesh with this shoe, and have relied on overlays to provide a little bit more support. Now this engineered mesh, you don't need as much reliance on overlays, so therefore you can put a little bit more effort into the support system of this shoe to get the lockdown that you require to keep you on top of that platform. Now the shoe itself, in my opinion, probably fits a little bit shallower through the toe box, and I think that's a good thing. Last year, version 9, and if we go back to version 8 and version 7 in this shoe, there was a bit of volume through the forefoot. Again, there was some runners who absolutely loved that, but for that first really fit and feel that you want with this shoe, you want everything to kind of hug you in the right areas and give you the right support. This version 10 is going to provide that up top. So again, a little bit shallower, slightly more secure fit, which is a good thing. As you come through to the mid part of this upper, I was kind of expecting a gusseted tongue, and that's just me being the fact that I love gusseted tongues. However, when I ran in this shoe, it wasn't until after getting it off my foot that I realised it didn't have a gusseted system. That's probably a good thing as well. So there is no need or reliance on having a gusseted tongue. They've executed enough support, enough of a lockdown through that midsection through here to provide the support that you require when you're going through mid starts. And coming back to the heel counter, again, it's something that Asics will not want to compromise with this shoe. You want a nice, strong, structured heel counter. So there is an internal heel counter around the back of this shoe that just gives the calcaneus or heel enough support, locks you in, keeps you stable when you come down and land, and then you won't have too much movement at all across that heel as you transition through to your midfoot to get ready to toe off. The memory foam on the inside of this heel collar is just enough. I do think some brands overdo it, and I haven't seen it too much in the last sort of 12 to 18 months, but brands are starting to realise that when you put too much foam in the back of this heel collar through here, it actually becomes less comfortable. So it provides too much of a suffocation for the back of the calcaneus or your heel. So there is the right amount of memory foam just in here to get a comfortable, secure, snug fit, but by not overdoing it at all. And the other thing too to call out, like all Asics shoes, there is the extra R at the back through here. So if you're a runner that likes to get a little bit more of a lockdown at the back of the heel, you can come back, use that last hole, or alternatively use a heel lock lacing system to get the secure fit that you require. Another thing to call out, guys, is the width. So you've got 3 widths on offer in the men's. You have a standard D, we have a 2E and a 4E width, which is really important. So again, Asics, while they've changed a bit of the engineering, they certainly won't veer away from the fact they like to make their key shoes available in a multiple amount of widths. So 3 widths on offer for the men's. In the ladies, they've gone one step further. They have the 2A, which is narrow, a B standard, D, which is marginally broader, and they also offer a 2E as well, which is that extra wide width. I just want to touch on the 2A width. Now, I want to just tip my hat to Asics right now, because in this market for the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen 2A widths just drop off. So Mizuno, while I understand the decision, they have dropped the 2A from their Wave Inspire franchise, and also with your New Balance and the 860, it's been a really critical one for us over the last couple of years when we're looking for that 2A, that narrow fit, and we used to have a few more options to throw out as considerations for our runners. Asics have stuck to their guns, and okay, yes, it's a minority width, as they've called it, and as other brands have called it as well, but for those minority runners out there that have a narrow foot, that also need a secure fit and also that arch support, I mean, they haven't had too many options. And the great thing about Asics is they've stuck to their guns, and they're continually producing most of their top-end running shoes in available widths, and especially the 2A width for the ladies, which is a good thing for us, the shoe fitters here. We know we can fit with confidence that the Asics GT-2000 version 10 is going to be available in a 2A width yet again. Okay guys, in summarising, it's really important to know that while Asics have been a brand that has been super consistent from each model to the next, there is a bit of change with version 10. However, I can hopefully get across the camera to you at home that while there is a bit of change with the outsole, the midsole and the upper, the shoe itself performs incredibly well. I have been, actually I'll go and say, I think this is probably the best update from an Asics shoe over the last 3 years, in my opinion. So again, we know this shoe, we know where it's placed in the market. It's catering for that overpronator, that heel striker to potentially midfoot runner with a slightly higher cadence. That's not necessarily seeking lots of cushioning, but wants more of a responsive feel. So that kind of does sort of filter in who will be looking at this shoe. But I need to say, it is a very comfortable shoe. I've taken it from a couple of 5K runs. I've pushed it out to a 10K. I haven't gone over 10Ks just yet in this shoe, but I've got no doubt this shoe is going to perform at those higher mileage for most runners out there that fit this profile. So guys, like all my shoe reviews, if you've got any questions about the version 10 or any of the GT2000 series, let us know in the comments section below. If you've got any other questions about this support category or anything that I've covered off in today's review, just let us know. I'd love to hear all of your feedback all across the world from the runners out there. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do hit the red button, stay notified, and we'll keep pumping out these shoe reviews for you, the running community, all across the world. And until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we'll see you out the road. Take care.